Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Here, we integrate holistic mindfulness and evidence-based practices to support you on your unique motherhood journey. Whether you're trying to conceive, pregnant, newly postpartum, or supporting mamas in this stage of life, you'll feel empowered and informed as you embrace what lies ahead. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hey mamas, how are you? I am super excited to bring these next few podcast episodes to you. This is a series that we have been doing on Instagram, and it has just been so much good information and knowledge that I want you to be able to have that information here to be able to have quick on hand and easy to access. And maybe if you don't follow us over on Instagram or have Instagram, you will be able to have that information here for you. We have been going live every Tuesday and having different conversations and different topics that are related mostly to pregnancy, but also birth and the postpartum period. We are planning on doing this every Tuesday. So if you want to jump over live with us on Instagram on Tuesdays, come join us around 10 a.m. Eastern. But if not, feel free to catch the episodes here and be able to utilize this platform to get that information. So I hope you enjoy these. And if you ever have any suggestions for different topics, please reach out to us. So with that, we will see you later. Hello. I am waiting for Caitlin, another local doula, to join, and we are going to be trying to do this every Tuesday around 10:30, and just go live and chat with y'all about different topics. Hi.
Hi.
Let me raise my volume up so I can hear you a little bit better. Cool. I was just saying that we're going to be trying to do this every Tuesday around the same time.
Yes.
And just chat with everybody and see if there are any specific questions towards doulas and birth and pregnancy that we can answer. And this week, we're going to be trying to focus on mindset and talk about that for a little bit.
Yep.
So,
yeah. I'm so excited to start doing this. Like, it makes me so happy to just get in front of mamas and just talk about all things birth related. So, and mindset is such a big part of that too. I actually made a post yesterday talking a little bit about like mindset and how key it was in preparing and actually achieving an unmedicated VBAC. So, and I know you can agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely think one thing that totally changed my birth experiences was mindset. And it's something that I really try to instill in all of my clients and really try to pinpoint like, hey, have you thought about this in great detail? And like, where is your mindset at?
Yes. Yeah. And like, I think it's one thing, like everybody wants to like have the things that they can do. And like, you know, you can physically like, okay, what position do I need to be in? Like, how hard do I squeeze this comb? Like, you know, the physical things that you can do to prepare for birth. But really, I think the most powerful thing is just preparing your mind to be able to cope with all of the like unknowns and uncertainties.
Yeah.
You know, because like birth is not a cookie cutter thing. It's so like, there's a lot of unknowns and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just having all those unpredictability things and not knowing what's going to happen, but have that be part of your plan.
Yeah.
And really part of, you know, what to expect. Like, it's like, you don't know what to expect.
You really don't. And like, I think that's one of the beautiful things about birth is you just don't know. Like you can have everything planned out to a T, but then something happens, and it's not necessarily something bad.
Yeah.
It's just something that we didn't plan on
Yeah.
happened. And, you know, so you have to be okay with that. And you have to like be in that good headspace to say, okay, this is what's going on. And it's just, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think, going from my first birth experience with Rosie, it was very much, I was just kind of like doing all the things. I was checking off the list. I was taking the birth class. I hired a doula. I was, reading all the books and things like that. But I wasn't really sitting with myself and saying, like, what is this going to look like? How do I want it to look? And like, where is my mind in all of this? Like, I was just convinced I was going to walk into the hospital room and she was just going to like pop out magically. Like, I didn't really like put myself in that mindset of, what does this look like? And like, how am I going to respond if things don't go according to like, quote unquote, the plan?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that happens so much. Like, you know, we just have this expectation, but we don't really know like how it happens or how it unfolds. It's just, you just have this expectation of, well, I'm just going to go in and have a baby and it's just going to be great. And, you know, like even with me, I was planning an out of hospital birth with Solomon, my oldest, and I was like, you know, it's going to be fine. I didn't know anything about like position work or anything like that. So I was like, you know, it's going to be fine. And then, oh, wait, he's breech. So then I had this whole mindset shift and I'm like, wait, is my body broken?
Yeah.
You know? And like that's not a place you want to be. And so I had to do a lot of like mindset work even to get out of that. You know, just you being in that place where you can just surrender control, I think is one of the hardest things to like one of the hardest places, I guess, to get to in really in life in general. You know?
Yeah, there's so many parallels between like I even just say like motherhood and your birth
Mhm.
experiences or just life in general. Like it all kind of correlates together. Like if you can kind of get your mindset in a good spot for your birth and your pregnancy, it just helps like moving forward in different experiences throughout motherhood.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like that's something that's been really heavy on my mind here lately too, is like because you know, we're like in the throes of toddlerhood with both of our kids right now. Naomi's not quite 1.5 and Solomon's 3.5. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, they're gonna kill me. But then I'm like, okay, I'm over here preaching mindset for birth and how you have to surrender control. But then I'm over here like trying to control everything my kids are doing.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? This applies to all of life. You know, you can't, you know, it's just, it really does. Like, I feel like being in a good mindset and having that, like, that mindset of, okay, like, this is what I want to happen, and I'm going to do the things to prepare for this to happen. But if it doesn't, that's okay. You know, if minor things go wrong, I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do all of the things to prepare to have this wonderful, beautiful birth. And even if some things go awry or, you know, don't go according to plan, that doesn't mean it's not a wonderful, beautiful birth. You know, that doesn't mean it's a bad experience. You know, it just means that things didn't go 100% according to plan.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when you have that baby and it, you know, it's growing and developing, things aren't going to go 100% to plan. So it really does correlate so much with like the whole, like entering motherhood, if you want to say, because, you know, that whole mindset thing of this is just it's how life is, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, what was I going to say? You said something that made me like think of something else, but it's really just kind of like, oh, like positive mindset and everything too. Like
Mhm.
it's more than that because like I think I did have a positive mindset for my first birth, but like it was almost like, and I hear the same sort of story with like second time moms or like third times, whatever, like after you've already had a baby, like it's like that, like, like false, like naive, positive mindset of like, oh, if I just think everything's going to be great and like stay in a really positive mindset, then like it's just all going to work out. And it's like you have to really kind of incorporate like, yes, like stay positive, like have that good, strong mindset, but also have like a balanced mindset of that like unpredictability or like different things that can come up. And so like I think it's really like finding that balance and like really tweaking it and understanding like what that means for you and like moving forward into it, because like positive mindset is great, but it's not everything. And I was just talking to like another client recently, and I was saying like, imagine like, you're having like a really rough day and then you stub your toe. And, like that toe being stubbed is going to feel so much worse because like you've already had this like, rough day and like bad mindset and you're really just like in like a negative place. But if like, everything's kind of been good for the rest of the morning and like you're kind of like in a better mood and then like you stub your toe, it's still gonna suck, it's still gonna hurt, but you're not gonna be like as affected by it compared to like when it's like, that last straw or like the last straight, like whatever it might be, like when you're kind of like at ends. So like making sure like you find a group of people or like whoever you're having in your birthing space to bring you back down to that like, mellowed out mood of like, if I stub my toe or when I'm going through a contraction, it's not going to feel as intense because you feel safe, you feel secure, you feel calm. And so I think like that's what a lot of like the mindset comes, like your main job is to birth your baby in that moment. And so like really trying to eliminate like all these other factors or like stresses in your life in that moment and find people that are going to be able to reduce that stress or those factors is going to really come into play.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like, it kind of reminds me of the book by Grantley Dick Reed. I don't know if you've read it or not, but it's like Childbirth Without Fear. And that is one of like, it's such a powerful book because he goes into such detail about how like what is it? Pain or fear, pain, tension. I'm saying that backwards, I know. But it's like, you start feeling fear and then you get all tense and then the pain's worse.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the root of why mindset is so important because, if you have a negative mindset, everything is just, it seems so much worse. And so, when you can, and it's like you said, it's not just about having a positive mindset, but it's about having like that even kill, like level mindset of, okay, this is just, it is what it is. And we're just going to make the best of it.
Right.
And so not only makes it seems to make everything flow better, but it's going to reduce your pain and it's going to reduce all of the negative like connotations that come with, just I'm going to say like stigma of having birth, I guess. I don't think that's really what I'm trying to say, but like you get it, like how there's just this negative, like everybody seems to think, oh, it's just the worst thing having a baby. It's awful. I had a completely different experience. Like I thought it was fantastic. And no, everything didn't go according to plan. Yeah. I mean, you were there. There was some pretty big curveballs thrown, but it was still a good experience. Right. So
yeah. Yeah. And I think it's like, and it's like not saying like, oh, you have to like, just be a pushover, be like, oh, well, whatever happens, happens. It's like still have like those like goals, still have that overall arching like vision of like what you want, but like find a way to make yourself like really be in that bubble and be in that like zone so that you can perform your best, so that you can focus on where you need to focus on. So it's not like, oh, like, okay, whatever happens, happens. And like, like we're not just like, la, 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 like going into it. It's like, no, like you're going to fight for, your goals and your plan and like, what you want out of your birth, and you should.
Yes.
But you're like also, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily like a positive mindset or like a negative mindset, but like really just like that, like even feel of like, hey, like it's just mindset work.
Yes.
And like we're working on our mindset to be able to achieve our goals and our vision and the plan that we want moving forward.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought that up about like you're definitely not being a pushover. That's the last thing that you need in that situation or that scenario, I guess. Because, and kind of going back to my birth story, like I remember basically telling them, "No, you are not doing that." And, the midwife was like, "Wait, what?" I guess it was the OB at that point, but she was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, I don't consent to that. You're not like putting me under general anesthesia." And they were just like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "No, I'm telling you no."
Yeah.
Because I knew I didn't want that. And, so yeah, you're definitely not just like la la la, like everything's, just I'm gonna let things happen to me. You are very much an active participant and you are in control of what's going on.
Yeah,
But I
that's a
think
good way of putting it. Yeah, like you're in control of your mindset and like you're really shaping your experience.
yes, yes, for sure, for sure.
Cool. Well, yeah, I definitely want to like continue these talks. We're gonna, like I said, do this every Tuesday as long as we're available and we're not at a birth or something like that. So be sure to, ask questions. We'll be like posting in our stories. You can comment like below on here, like other questions and stuff that you might have about pregnancy and birth and even into postpartum. But we just wanted to get these conversations going and started. And do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's so much fun. Like I said, I just love talking all things birth.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we're going to have to keep it like micro topics because you and I could talk about birth all day long.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Cool. And yeah, and we have our wait list open now for our childbirth education course too. So, be sure to go and join the wait list if that's something that you're looking for. If you are, currently pregnant or planning on getting pregnant next year and looking for a childbirth education course, Caitlin and I are going to be running that and having that going. So we're really excited to get, your feedback on it. And we're still adding things to the course and really tweaking a lot of things. So we want it to be the best course possible for you to really, own your birth, make it be something uniquely you and something that you really have an enjoyable experience. And
Yes, and we want it to be like fully comprehensive too. Like from the minute you find out you're pregnant to, like a couple months after baby's here even. Like we're going to have stuff for the entire 4 trimesters. So, if there's anything that, you would like to see specifically or something that you struggled with that you're like, "Hey, maybe this topic would be good." Let us know that too.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited because it is such a comprehensive plan that we have outlined. And like you said, it's all 4 trimesters. We're really, even if like you're already past your first trimester, there's still stuff in that first trimester section that you can be, reviewing and looking at and helping you, like focusing on mindset and building a birth plan and finding, your provider and things like that. We really kind of like break it all down and then go through, different interventions that could happen, different medications or things like that. And then, how you said like the 4th trimester too, like newborn care and postpartum hormones and nutrition and really kind of bringing in like both of our experiences and all of our knowledge to make it something super comprehensive and not just like, pinholed in one topic specifically, but you're really kind of getting like all that broad knowledge so that you can choose how you want your birth to look and you can really shape it into what it is and own your birth.
Yes. Yes. 2 minds are better than one. So we're super excited to bring our heads together to make this fully comprehensive course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So let us know what other questions you have. Catch us next Tuesday. We'll do our doula talks.
yes, Yes. Well, thanks for hopping on and watching, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch, and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button. Share this episode with a friend. Message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.